Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Iqra Hafeez and you're watching DESI TV USA. Let's have a look at the news. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, addresses the World Economic Forum.
It is very good to be back in Davos and once again in person. Your team perfectly sets out the dilemma of today's world. We need cooperation, yet we face fragmentation. And I'm not here to sugarcoat the scale of that challenge or the sorry state of our world. We can't confront problems unless we look them squarely in the eye. And we are looking into the eye of a Category 5 hurricane. Our world is plagued by a perfect storm on a number of fronts. Start with the short term, a global economic crisis. The outlook, as we all know, is bleak. Many parts of the world face recession, and the entire world faces a slowdown. And we see deepening inequalities and the rapidly unfolding cost of living crisis affecting women and girls the most. Supply chain disruption.
Moderna CEO Stefan Bancel and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance CEO, said Berkeley among speakers at World Economic Forum sessions on state of the pandemic.
The world leaders declaring the end of it still represents a big risk and surely does not seem like it is over. During this session, we will evaluate the state of the pandemic, the increase in cases globally, as well as the consequences and impact on the healthcare system worldwide. It's my great honor to introduce the speakers of the session. Here with me we have Maria Lipton, President, European Research Council, Seth Berkley, Chief Executive Officer, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, Stefan Bancel, Chief Executive Officer at Moderna, and Michelle Williams, the Dean of Faculty, Harvard Chan School of Public Health. By the end of the session, we're going to also hear the closing remarks about Shyam Bishan, Head Shaping the Future of Health and Healthcare, member of Executive Committee at the World Economic Forum. My name is Sasha Vakulina. I'm with Euronews, and I'm going to be moderating.
Secretary of the State Antony Blinken addresses U.S. Conference of Mayors. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken addresses United Nations Conference of Mayors at its 91st winter meeting in Washington, D.C.
Wonderful to be with you. I want to thank the Mayor again for his leadership of the U.S. Conference, and thank you to Tom Cochran. I was just backstage with him, and the entire team for having me here with you this morning. So, in Washington, we have an old bad joke about the worst words that someone can say that you all know very well. I'm from the federal government, I'm here to help. Well, this group, on the other hand, gets to say, I'm the mayor, I really do help. And I know the difference. For more than 9 decades, the U.S. Conference of Mayors has harnessed the incredible power of American cities to advance a stronger and more secure America. In the earliest days of the Depression, when millions were unemployed, bread lines stretched for blocks, banks had run dry, America's mayors forged this coalition to secure the first ever direct assistance package to cities. If you go back and look at their campaign.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, as Russia's invasion nears its one-year anniversary.
In the audience, and she will be watching her husband. Mr. President.
So a tragedy happened near Kyiv. The helicopter crash claimed lives of the Minister of the Internal Affairs of Ukraine, his colleagues and helicopter crew when it fell near a kindergarten. 14 of Ukrainian families lost their loved ones today, and many more families are losing daily because
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg is one of the several speakers participating in a session on restoring security and peace at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
Weapons, they are the way to peace, and that may sound like a paradox, but but the only way to have a negotiated agreement is to convince President Putin that he will not win on the battlefield. He has to sit down and negotiate. Nobody knows how this war will end. Most likely it will end around the negotiating table. What we do know is that what happens around that negotiating table is totally dependent on the strength of the battlefield. And if we want Ukraine to prevail, then they need the military strength. Then let me add one more thing, and that is that we are all encouraged, inspired, we admire the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian political leadership, the Ukrainian armed forces. At the same time, I think it's very dangerous to underestimate Russia. They have mobilized 200,000 more troops.
In Ukraine, 16 people, including the interior minister, were killed in a helicopter crash. At the scene, debris was driven across the playground and emergency workers, including ambulances, were arriving at the scene. The French-made Super Puma helicopter crashed in a residential area of Burvary, an eastern suburb of the capital, on Wednesday morning, Reuters news agency reported, citing officials. Snowfall and rains continue in various districts of Balochistan. The scenery of nature become even more beautiful, with snow falling like cotton cheeks. Rain and snowfall started in the early hours of the day in Quetta Ziyarat, Pishin, Muslim Bagh, Khan Mehtarzai, Kilai Abdullah, Kilai Saifullah, Chaman, Kalat, Mustang, Tubachakzai, and many other areas. In India, the Nizam era came to an end with the death of Makram Jah Bahadur, grandson of Nizam Mir Usman Ali Khan of Hyderabad, Deccan. He was buried with state honours. Makram Jah Bahadur passed away 4 days ago at the age of 89 in Istanbul, Turkey. He lived in Istanbul for a long time, in keeping with Makram Jah's wish to be buried in his native land. His body will be brought to Deccan by Hyderabad on January 17, where he will be buried at the Asif Jah's graveyard after performing the last rite. That's all for now. For more updates, keep watching DESI TV USA or visit our website desitvusa.com.